Alright, Chapter 1. Field Operation Purpose of the Operating Structure of the Mission, Values, Visions, and Goal of the PHMSA Mission for the Protect of the People, Environment, Advancing the Safety of Transportation, Energy, Other Hazardous Material Essential to your daily lives. According to PHMSA Strategic Plan, PHMS Vision is to become the most innovative transportation safety organization in the world. PHMS mode, and then it shows a little vision, mission, goals, values. PHMS endeavored to become the forward-looking and proactive initiative of the data-driven organization, administrative, the committed with the investigation capability, skill, with the necessary to utilize the data to provide enforcement, implementation, innovative technology, research, development, investment, effective, timely regulation, public outreach. PHMSA goals include the promoting continuous improvement, investigating safety innovation, the building greater public and stakeholder trust for the administrator, but also for the drive the culture of the organization, excellence, safety culture with the invest with its people, the development of the key capabilities, pursue operational excellence, utilizing tools, efficient business process, field operation purpose. The field operation program promotes safety and security for the hazardous material transportation through the inspection, investigation, enforcement, outreach to reduce the incident, accident, death, injuries, or property damage distributed to unsafe. Manufacturing, maintenance of the hazardous material packaging, shipping thereof, with the investigator adherence guideline for the manual enhancement for his or her ability to accomplish the mission. Hazardous Material Program and Authority. On June 3rd, 1975, the Hazardous Material Transportation Act of 1971, Title 1, Public Law 93-633, was signed into law that enabled the Secretary of Transportation to aggregate with the governing body for the regulate the movement of the hazardous materials seeking commerce for the one consolidated coordinated body of law. On the November 16th, 1990, Hazardous Materials Transportation Uniform Safety Act of the Public Law 101-615 significantly modified the Hazardous Material Transportation Act with the further editorial revisions codified in 195-49 U.S. Standard Code 5101 to 5127 of the Federal Hazardous Material Transportation Law, or known as Federal Hazmat Law. Title 49 U.S. Standard Code 5101, 5127 that provide the preliminary legislative authority for the hazardous material programs are the relevant statute for the most part, but the mode specifically found with the Title 49-20-101 at Tennessee with the Federal Railroad Safety Action 1972, Title 45 U.S. Standard Code 421 in Tennessee with the Title 49 U.S. Standard Code 4101 in Tennessee with the formerly Federal Aviation Act of 1958, Title 49 U.S. Standard Code 1301 at Tennessee with the Marine Transportation Title 33 U.S. Standard Code 1221 Tennessee with the Title 46 U.S. Standard Code 3701 and for the model administrator for the name of the Federal Aviation Act, Motor Carrier Safety Administration of the Railroad Administration, responsible for enforcement actions regarding the transportation hazardous materials by highway, rail, air, highway, or rail. The U.S. Coast Guard became part of the Department of Homeland Security, but retained enforcement authority regarding the hazardous material by water. Some of the authority of the DOT regulation has material transportation include the Federal Water Pollution Control Act, with the amendment of the 1972 of the Resource Recovery Act of 1976, of the Comprehensive Emergency Response Compensation and Liability Act of 1980, Sanitary Food Transportation of 1990, with the Has Material Transportation USA, and the Has Material Transportation Authorization Act of 1994, with the IMPO of the Department of Additional Responsibility not codified with the Federal Hazmat Law, with the laws influence as materials over the PHMSA with the model administration authority investigated with the Title 49 5121A with the Title 49 CFR 107305 the PHMS field operations staff and investigators may inspect property, conduct tests, and make reports, issue subpoenas, conduct hearings required for traditional production of records taken into disposition, support with the accident investigation, and if the authority permits the investigator is designated by the agent of the Secretary of Transportation duly authorized associated administrator of the hazardous material safety and also Section B with the Title 49-5103B1 with the PHMSA regulates all shall govern the safety aspect for the transportation hazardous material security consideration appropriate. Authority to take an enforcement act for the HMS for the chief of the council to have the authority to take an action for the zone with the violation has material regulation of which was the what was the HMS Association Administrator of the Hazardous Material Safety has authority to issue sanctions, including the advisory letter, warning letter, stick with the Associated Administrator of the Hazardous Material Safety, delegated with the authority to field operation over the PHC, or the Office of the Challenge Chief of the Council of the delegated authority compliant with the orders, initiate the civil penalties. PHS may enforce the achieve the preparation and initial civil penalty case for the action in Title 49 CFR Part 107, the Part D 107, the 301, 3039, additional PHMSA ticketing program is described in 107, 310. Jurisdiction PHMS developed issues enforcement regulation governing hazardous materials transportation commerce for the include the containing of the requirements of PHMSA promptly aimed at the side of the measuring compliant with the forcing standards as needed, behooves the regulation governing with the manufacturer reconditioning, requalification, retesting, dot specification, United Nations, standard packaging, multi-module, shipment of the hazardous material. Primary transportation jurisdiction, the deployment of investigation resources scope of the activity defined with the document depend with the statutory jurisdiction of the roles responsible with the of the cross-module of the memorandum of agreement. Call for the benefit scope of the fishing with the event with the resource availability of the delegation primary transportation jurisdiction is listed below. Statutory jurisdiction PHMSA regulates for the all class for the head material transported with the aircraft, motor vehicle, with the rail of the vessel, except for the bulk transported vessel with the subject U.S. United States Coast Guard regulation. PHMSA primarily jurisdiction of other over packaging manufacturers as well with the packaging retest or recertification. Dot model memorandum of agreement. The image today does not have the primary responsibility of the following accident involved with the entity dedicated model U for the cargo tanks, freight motor vehicle, the motor vehicle carriers, and railroad tank freight cars and rail cars, aircraft unloaded device, and air carriers. PHMSA has not had primarily jurisdiction in bulk package with a special permanent approval to cover the benefit, cover the resource allocation for the response investigation activity to waive the gain for the benefit outcome return of the investment maximize the impact of the program resources. Scope of the effect of the event, with the breadth of the event, with the potential for the discovery and how hazard for the classification, communication, packaging, regulation with the impact with the performance with the decision with the determine the level of response with the number of the assignment of the resources, frequently meeting with the accident investigation full extent of the detail of the contribution of the event, with the fully known we may appear meaningful of the event, but the may turn out but not have more than influence of the regulation. Conversely, will have negative appear to the small event, but it could have large impact. But therefore, it's best to start with the investigation. Will resource the more to collect a wide range of evidence, scale back if need, resource availability, staff funding, sort of the place of the large role for the determination, engage field participation of the hazard material safety of field operation, small investigation staff operating budget for the DOTS module administration. Strategic partnership with authority. Under authority delegated with the Federal Hazard Materials Transportation System, Transportation Law Title 49-501, Tennessee with the Hazard Material Regulation Title 49, Charge 171 through 180, have the operating and administrative for the civil enforcement program of the pursuing Title 49 CFR Part 1 with the security delegated with the authority Federal Aviation Association, Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration, Federal Railroad Administration, Pipeline Hazard Material Safety Administration, fourth, complying with the Hazard Material Transportation Safety Law with the delegation of the office operating and administrative to make it actively coordinate with each of the either other increase the efficiency of the investigation, inspection, enforcement programs with the enhance the overall enforcement effort with the contained certain entity with the include with the carrier, shipper, the freight with the subject of the enforcement more within the office of the operating and administration. Operating and administration make it of the joint operation one with another. Furthermore, inspection investigation of the operation administration produce information evidence of the within the delegated authority or more with the appropriate handled with the office of the administration. Operating and administration model enforcement responsibility rail. The FRA enforcement of the hazard material regulation of the rail transport including Title 49 Part 174 along with the general rail safety regulation with the Title 49 Part 209 through 236 of the Federal Railroad. It has inspection and investigation authorities enforcement responsibility for the entire U.S. rail system. The Federal Aviation Enforcement of the Hazard Material Regulation for the Air Transportation, including the Title 49 CFR Part 175 of the Federal Aviation Condition, conduct the inspection investigation for hazmat ship to the domestic foreign U.S. airport to the airport cargo facility of the agency. Also, develops and enforcement safety regulation, air factor, manufacturer operation made with the highway with the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration, hazard material regulation, and the highway transportation hazard materials, Title 49 Part 177 of the Federal Hazard Material Motor Carrier Safety Administration, enforces vehicle driver safety regulation, Title 49 Part 390, attends with the cooperation with the State Under Motor Carrier Safety Assistance Program, the Motor Carrier Safety Assistance Program grants the HMF Hazard Material Regulation Enforcement at the state level, providing grant state agencies assisting the fire marshal, state code with enforcement personnel. Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration conducts inspection investigation of highway and shipment and interstate motor carriers. Water, United States Coast Guard informs of the enforcement of the hazard material regulation of the water transportation non-bulk shipment, but they include with the Title 49 Part 176. It also regulates the bulk shipment of the water under the Title 46 of the Code of Federal Relations. The United States Coast Guard conducts an investigation and import of the areas on the domestic foreign ship of the barges operating with the navigable waters in the United States. Areas of emphasis of the operating administration areas of emphasis of the basic expertise of the regulatory authority beyond the hazard material transportation office of operation agreement the regular what was it? Sorry about that. Operating administration. Alright, the operating administration normally do not initiate the inspection investigation area with the emphasis provision designed and limited effective investigation across module areas of the issuing agent that has material approval to maintain primary responsibility for the oversight related to approval of the process. And then show the memorandum of understanding agreement. The PHMS established the memorandum of understanding of the agreement to clarify with the operating administration with the committee best achieve the baseline with the cross-module policy with the investigation, inspection, enforcement procedure with the inspector hazmat program management. This will enforce the more effective of the data of hazmats for restore with the provide with the regulated industrial consistent with the approach for the hazmats inform with the data hazmat with the special memorandum of understanding and memorandum of agreement of the Nuclear Regulatory Commission, Environmental Protection Agency, Transportation Security Administration, with the agreement of the PHMSA to share with the reach over the hazmat extra expertise of the federal agency throughout joint inspection leverage of the interagency intermodule relationship with exposure to the investigators, unique training with the outreach of the opportunities beyond the standard activities. Other format working agreements and certain hazard material functions delegated with the United States Coast Guard amendment of agreement with even through though the operating administrator of the United States Coast Guard played with a vital role promoting the efficiency, uniform, safety, secure system, hazard material transportation with a particular emphasis on transportation shipping that has been by water. Part of the memorandum of the agreement to continue with the cooperate with the United States Coast Guard, utilize the U.S. Coast Guard memorandum of agreement that currently with effectively along with the superseding memorandum of the government regarding hazmat material transportation. Organization, Deputy Association Administrator for the Hazmat Material Safety Field Operation. The Deputy Associated Administrator for the Federal Field Office of Oversee the Administrator of the Field Operation Program nationwide. Heads for the National Field Leadership Program in the Defense of the Deputy Associated Administrator of Hazmat Material Safety Field Operation. Over the duties include setting goals for the operation, performance, acting primary liaison, legislative branch of federal agency, interested parties, regulated industries, and public fostering the development of regulatory policy, and issue of the maintaining investigator certification progress as advising the Associate Administrator of the Hazard Material Safety Administration, Hazard Material issuing the Transportation Safety Security National Field Leadership Team, the National Field Leadership to develop and implement activity function goal for the policy with the field operation of the national wide. The team consists of the regional director, chief, the investigator for the director, field support with the director, outreach for the training grant for the chief of the enforcement branch. Field support, the field support with the division, support for the field investigation function for the home of the following branch of the enforcement fitness certification standards branch for the base of the Washington D.C. the Department of Transportation headquarters of the Director of Field Service to oversee the field operation program, participating in propagation of the human hazard material regulation. The Director of the also responsible leading enforcement and fitness certification staff of the branch and accomplishing the goal of the other field support duties include working in the regional office of the leadership performance member of the fitness review of the investigator training program, serving as a principal liaison between the regional directors, each of the policy and program director for the headquarters, serving the primary advisory of the deputy of the we'll just say deputy field operations, specialized hazard material issues. Chief Enforcement Branch of the Chief Enforcement Branch oversees the violation of the Office of the Hazard Materials Safety Inspection Investigation Program and enforcement activity of the position include acting primary liaison between the regional chief investigator branch chief of the policy of the program, the division with the headquarters, the acting primary liaison with the PA Office of Administration with the enforcement of the action legal with the determination related man with the measuring with the reporting with the performance inspection enforcement program, the developing, updating policy of the procedure for the ensure of the programs are consistently fairly applied within accordance with the authority investigating alleged misconduct and professional conduct with the region investigator serving as senior advisor direct field support. Then serve the Deputy Administrator for the Eastern Region, Central Region, Western Region, and field support with enforcement certification standards, Southeastern Region, Southern Region. Hazard Material Safety Regional Office of the Lab Hazard Material Safety Regional Office of the Regional Field Office of the Serve of the Point of the Contact Respect with the State Local Enforcement Organization, Pay Public Safety for the Regional Field Office of the State of the primarily with the conduct of hazards compliant with the inspection, accident investigation, along with the providing the training, technical assistance, outreach, engagement activity primarily provide with the Hazard Material Safety Region teams members assigned with each of the regions. Each of the serve for the West Region, Central Region, Eastern Region, Southwest Region, Southern Region. Each regional field office consists of the regional director, regional chief investigator, senior investigator, head material safety assistant team members, investigators. The regional director, senior leader with the regional field office, the regional director is responsible for the administrator, the PHMSA regional hazard for the material for the transportation compliant with the investigation enforcement program with the supporting outreach for the educational engagement activity. The regional directions in conjunction with headquarter counterparts to the strategic approach of the recommendation and implementation coordinate with the national policy with the compliance enforcement, outreach of the engagement with the mayor with the development and implement comprehensive with the regional enforcement investigation training with the outreach policy with the regional director, serving the advisor for the deputy of the field, Associated Administration of the Hazard Material Safety of the Office of Administration concerning compliance with the enforcement of federal hazard material safety, the law of the hazard regulation of the regulation regional director responsibly include overseeing an investigation act with the determinant of the cause of the circumstance of the failure of the need for the corrective action non-compliant with the might have the contribution of the accident, overseeing education outreach for the help of the bands of the hazard material safety goal for the directional region office hazard material safety assistance team of the conducting safety-based alternatively compliance programs to promote the systematic improvement of the regulated entity with the provide the regular feedback of the hazard material safety, leadership in the operation of the program with the help of improvement of the regulation, packaging, data for the collection, training, responsible, clear, perform, planning, with enforcement, approval of the special permit of the technical guidance service, and leadership role of the part of the field operation and leadership team of the establishing regional enforcement strategy, the method, the policy, and interact with the coordinate with the Office of the Administrative Office of OA, Office of Administration for the regional level of concern, collaborative compliant with enforcement activity, coordinate with the PHMS headquarters, training, the outreach of the policy of the program, and the National Outreach Initiative. Her regional chief of the investigator, the regional chief of the investigators, oversee the investigation, inspection, enforcement program with the respect for the breach of the validity with the investigator, compliance, and of the base for the CSB with the coordinate with the certification, recertification with the independent evaluation, regional chief of the investigator, responsibly establishing with the maintain with the training certification record that is signed with the each investigator, trigger the field training with the investigators, assist with the meeting of the standard, the maintain proficiency review and approve the itinerary submitted with the investigators, ensure that they are consistent with the risk-based and national regional priorities, reviewing all investigation, inspection, enforcement reports submitted with the investigator, and include the evidence collected with the support finding and conclusion violations. Determine appropriate enforcement action for the warning letters and tickets case for the referral based on the review of the investigator reports consultation with him and or her. The senior investigator assigned with the system and SISP with the representative of the commonly referred to as SISP with the coordinated SIS program aimed to identify the regulated entities within the systematic compliance with the issue with the frequently incident with the complaint with the hazard material regulated entities. Consider the SISP based on the extent of the breach of the company of the compliance action with the history of the SISP coordinated with the conduct with the depth of the review of the data, intelligence, continual basis for the identify the risk and safety trend regarding hazard material transportation eligibility SIS programs is based on analysis of the probability of the consequent measured risk factors, overall safety concern with determine with the entities group of the combined with the adversely safety trend with the stakeholder system that needed to be addressed and selected with the SISP property of the senior investigator approach with the regulated entity with the extent of the enter with the voluntary agreement to develop the quality assurance program that will ensure sustained compliance and improve the safety performance. Our investigators conduct the inspection investigation and ensures the compliance with the hazard material regulation, the particular expertise for the area for the particular packaging man for the drum recondition for the quality, cylinder requalifier, ship for the care of the hazard material regulation to engage with the training with the outreach of the active of the federal, state, industrial organization. However, the duties include the inspection and performs of the program area with the concentration assisting of the do so inspecting entity with the compliance with the PHMSA issues special permits and approval of the investigation hazard material incident and acts of the reporting enforcement action for the enforcing established policy and procedure providing advice for the technical guidance of the module administrator participating in the intermodule interdisciplinary task force and team of the review of the analyze of the proposed existing hazard material transportation regulations ensure the enforceability conduct fitness inspection as needed of the purchasing packaging for the field of the performance packaging validation testing program with the joint inspection of the federal, state, local agency and enforce hazard material regulation, obtain hazard material laboratory testing as the part of the hazard material testing program. Our Chapter 2, planning and conducting cleaning compliance inspections.